Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhodes and I'm here to get you started on Unit 36, two-syllable words with a Y ending. Please take a second to gather your materials. You will need this teal book open to page 221. You'll also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark on my board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key as well. All right, so we spent several weeks talking about our controlled vowels. We are done with that conversation, and there's one more pattern I want to talk to you about before you move on to the third grade book. When you get to the third grade book, you are going to see multisyllabic words. That means words that have more than one syllable. So to prepare you for that, I have put together a list of two-syllable words. Every word on your list has two vowel sounds. Candy, and, e. Can you hear the two vowel sounds? Funny, e. Those are the two vowel sounds. Okay, so when we talk about syllables in a word, the number of syllables has nothing to do with the number of letters, right? It has to do with the vowel sounds. So even though the word candy has 5 letters, it has 2 vowel sounds. The A says and the Y says E. Now there's a couple different ways to measure syllables. I like to clap them out. Candy, 2 syllables. Funny, 2 syllables. Some people like to place their hand under their chin and say the word out loud. As they do, they notice that their mouth opens and closes each time they hit a new syllable, so they can feel their chin pressing against their hand. Funny, 2 bumps. Happy, 2 bumps. Okay? So all of our words this week have 2 syllables, and the second syllable ends with a Y that makes a long E sound. Okay? So let's read our list. As we do, I want you to use your eyes to look for the Y at the end of each word, and use your ears to listen for the long E sound. Here we go. Candy, funny, happy, jelly, penny, pretty, puppy, silly, 20, ugly. Did you hear that E sound at the end of each word? Great. So what I want you to do now is I want you to choose a color, and we're going to practice breaking our words into syllables. You can do that by saying the word out loud and clapping the syllables, by putting your hand under your chin, whatever works for you. Our first word is candy. We're going to slice it after the N. Here's our first syllable. Here's our second syllable. Funny. We're going to slice it between the double N's. Happy. Between the double P's. Jelly. Between the double N's. Penny. Between the double N's. Are you noticing a pattern here? When we see a double consonant in the middle of a word, we're going to slice right through it. Pretty, between the T's. Puppy, between the P's. Silly, between the L's. 20, we don't have a double consonant, but we do have 2 consonants next to each other. So we're going to slice between the N and the T, just like we did here between the consonants N and D. Ugly, slice it between the G and the L. In our key, blue circle represents syllable break. Okay, that shows me where I'm going to break up the word into 2 syllables. Okay, choose another color, and this time I want you to find the Y at the end of each word. Notice it makes a long E sound. Candy, funny, happy, jelly. Okay, that Y is making a long E sound. Penny, pretty, puppy, silly, 20, ugly. Over here, green line equals Y, but that Y is making a long E sound. Okay, something else I want to teach you to get ready for third grade. We're going to talk a little bit about syllable types. Okay, we have open syllables, closed syllables, vowel team syllables, R-controlled syllables. You're going to learn a lot about those in fourth grade, a little bit in third grade. But to get you started, I do want you to notice that all of our words on this list start with a closed syllable. A closed syllable makes you close your mouth because it ends with a consonant sound. Vowels open your mouth, consonants close your mouth. So right here, we have a vowel and a consonant, A, N. I'm not going to write those up there because I don't want us to get confused. Vowel, consonant, can. That is a closed syllable. That can makes me close my mouth. Fun, vowel, consonant, closed syllable. Hap, vowel, consonant, hap. Again, notice how I close my mouth when I make that P sound. Gel, closing my mouth on that L sound. Pen, closing my mouth on the N sound. Prit, closing my mouth with the T sound. Pup, sil, twen, ug. All of these words have a pink line which represents a closed syllable. And a closed syllable ends with a vowel plus a consonant, okay? The nice thing about closed syllables, they're very easy to spell when you sound them out. Hap, fun, can, gel, pen, nothing tricky about those at all. We just have to remember to double our consonants before we add our Y. Okay, next thing I want to do is go through the list and make sure we know what all of our words mean. So let's start with candy. That's a noun. A candy is a sweet treat, right? Chocolate candy, gumdrops, lollipops, those are all types of candy. Funny is a describing word. It's an adjective. If something's funny, it makes you laugh. Happy is another adjective. It describes how you feel. If you're in a good mood, you feel happy. Jelly is a noun, right? That's something we spread on bread. It's crushed up fruit, maybe a little sugar added to it. You could have grape jelly or strawberry jelly, but that is a thing. A penny is a coin, right? It's a type of money that's worth 1 cent. I don't know what's happening with the power, but we're just going to keep talking. Pretty is another describing word. It's an adjective. It's the opposite of ugly. If something's pretty, you enjoy looking at it, right? Like a pretty sky or a pretty flower, a pretty face. A puppy, well, that's a noun, right? That's a baby dog. Silly is another adjective, right? If somebody's silly, they're probably making you laugh because they're doing something goofy, right? My sons, when they were little, did lots of silly things. Like my son might try to wear like 10 shirts at the same time. That's really silly. Or he might make a mustache and a beard out of paper and walk around the house in a deep old man voice. That would be silly. 20 is also a describing word because it describes an amount. I have $20. I bought 20 cans of soup. It can also be used as a noun if we're just talking about the number 20. And then our last word, ugly, that's also an adjective. Ugly is the opposite of pretty, right? If we like looking at pretty things, we probably don't like looking at ugly things, right? You know, like going to a garbage dump and seeing trash everywhere. That's a very ugly scene that we don't want to look at. Notice, by the way, that all of our words with Y endings are either nouns or adjectives. It's very rare to have an action word that ends with Y. Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about with you. When you get to page 224, you're going to practice taking singular nouns. You're going to turn them into plural nouns. Remember, plural means more than one. So, if I have the word puppy, I end it with a Y. But maybe my dog didn't have one puppy. Maybe she had 3 puppies. If I want to change puppy to puppies, I get rid of this Y. Instead, I change it to I, and then I add ES, okay? This ES suffix, you're used to that. You've seen that before with words like matches and brushes and boxes. But this is new. We need to change our Y to I and then add ES. Same thing with penny. I found 1 penny, or I found many pennies. I have to get rid of my Y, change it to I, and then add my plural suffix, which is ES. Okay, on this same page, you're also going to practice adding some adjective suffixes. Okay, so we can start with a word like ugly. That sweater is ugly. But we could also add an ER suffix to make it mean more ugly. Like it is uglier than the one I wore yesterday. Change my Y to I, and then add my ER suffix to make it mean more uglier. I could also take ugly and change it to ugliest. That is the ugliest shirt or sweater I've ever seen. I have to do the same thing. I get rid of my Y, I change it to I, and then I add my EST suffix. Okay? You guys are already familiar with these suffixes. You know how to add a plural suffix to mean more than one. You know how to add an ER or EST suffix to mean more or most. So here's the new learning. Before you add those suffixes, you have to change your Y to I. Y to I, Y to I. Okay? If you can remember that, you will be all set. All right, that is all I have. You have finished all of the second grade book. Congratulations. You are ready to move on to the grade 3 book where we will build on all of the patterns we've been discussing here. Thank you and have a great day.